We are finally getting closer and closer to the start of the NFL season. The preseason is about 2 weeks away, and we're getting even closer every day, it feels like, even if it is just the preseason. But if you are excited, type me in the comments section. I want to see a ton of me's in the comments. Fitting that mold pretty well is this super chat from Poppy Chulo Sits. 16 days until Bears versus Texans. I'll face it. This, of course, is filmed on our Tuesday live show, so subtract however many days to get to that figure there. But Thursday, August 1st, we're back with football. Is it real football? It's real enough for us. From lore, and what I suspect will end up being a Brandon Aiyuk heavy mailbag, because that's the big NFL story right now. What is Brandon Aiyuk's trade value, and how much is the franchise tag for a receiver like Aiyuk? Let's go to those graphics we got. Let's go to the contract one first for Aiyuk. So I will make note, the franchise tag number you're about to see is a projection. Now, he's got the fifth-year option this year, $14.12 million. The current projected franchise tag for 2025 is just under $25 million. That number could rise or drop based on what else happens. It might rise a little bit. We'll see. The second tag is 120%, which is $29.7 million, which means if you're Aiyuk, you're going, I'm looking at least $69 million guaranteed, minimum. It's a lot of money. And you get more than that per year, you're going to raise that figure up at least a little bit. As for the trade side of it, look, I think Aiyuk is going to command big money. I think he's going to command a big trade package if he does get moved. That A.J. Brown trade, first and a third, which is very similar to a lot of other trades that have happened across the NFL at wide receiver, I think is a good rough benchmark for it. From Omar's burner with a Brandon Aiyuk profile picture for the Steelers, how long of a call do you think Omar Khan and John Lynch had today? Well, A, I bet they've already had calls. There might not have been one on Tuesday. It might have been Omar Khan going, hey, John, how about now? It might have been a text. You know, one of those meetings. It could have been an email. I don't know if the Niners actually want to trade him. If they do, I do think San Francisco is a really good standout area. Also from Omar's burner, today is a great day to trade Lamb and Aiyuk. This is in reference into me tweeting out every single day. Today is a great day for the Cowboys to pay CeeDee Lamb. I think the Niners are kind of a similar boat, quite frankly. Like, they should be looking to get a deal done with him. Omar is trying to get Lamb on the Steelers, which I hate, but it's always been a fun interaction there. We are 2 months-ish away from the start. Just under, I guess not quite 2, but anyway, from the start of the NFL season. Will any of all of these wide receivers linked in trade rumors, Aiyuk, Lamb, Sutton, etc., Davante Adams, will any of them actually end up getting moved? It's the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Y for yes, N for no. From Cole So Sporty 193, is the NFC South wide open this season? I think all 4 of those teams harbor at least hopes of making a run. Think about it last year. The Falcons were 2 games back. The Saints and Bucks were tied at 9-8. The Panthers are going to be better this year because you can't really be all that much worse. I mean, you had one of the worst defenses and one of the worst offenses, 180 negative net points. Think about it this way. That's about as bad as the 49ers were good from a point differential perspective. The Chiefs didn't have that same point differential. It's not a good place to be. The Bucks are the defending champs in the division. They're going to be a threat. The Falcons should be a lot better if Kirk Cousins is healthy because the quarterback play is going to rise dramatically. The Panthers, I think, are probably at least a year away, but they just got to show growth. The Saints are going to be the Saints. I have my doubts about them, but that's a veteran-laden team. They think they have a chance. So I don't know if it's as wide open as maybe as other divisions, but it is one of them. You know, maybe it's not quite the AFC East where 3 teams they have a great shot of being a playoff team. Period. I think one of those teams make the playoffs in the NFC South, but there will be competition there for sure. Richard Iacoco, NASCAR fan 24. Jeff Gordon was always my favorite, by the way. I don't know. You were probably a Dale Jr. guy, weren't you, Chris? You are such a Southern boy. Do you think that the Chicago Bears will trade anyone before the season? I'm going to go with no. No Bears trade away. I think that team is... Now, I hope they trade Phil Herbert to my Cowboys, but I think that the good chance to keep him as RB3. I don't think they're going to make a big splashy move. And, maybe they always trade the 57th player on their roster for a day 3 pick or something. But I think the Bears have kind of made their big splashes at this time already. From Stevie, will CeeDee Lamb end up getting traded? I don't think so. There had been the report from my boy Pretty Ricky that he was going to demand a trade. The Cowboys didn't offer him $32 million. Offer him $32 million. That's not that hard. I still think that deal gets done. I have my doubts it gets done before the start of training camp. I think it's going to be an unnecessary delay and forced holdout from Lamb. But I think he's a top 5, top 3, top whatever wide receiver. You pay that guy, whether you're winning or rebuilding. You want to win games? You need him. You want to rebuild? The young quarterback's going to need him too. I think it's a no-brainer to pay CeeDee Lamb. I don't think he gets dealt. Now, I'm sure Lamb would be a fun trade target for many out there. Name a player who you want to see your team trade for. Sound off in the comments of today's show. From Mad Drummer, I definitely read that as Mad Rummer earlier. Might be a Freudian slip on my part. What would it take for Saints to get either Aiyuk or Davante Adams? I think it's the first and a third minimum for Brandon Aiyuk. That Saints team also might not be in a good spot to move a first-round pick. They might need to have that young developmental guys, the young assets coming in. Aiyuk is young, but not the same as cheap young, Davante Adams, which the Derek Carr reunion would be hilarious in a positive way, I suppose. I think it's a second. I don't know if Adams gets a first-round pick. He's older. But I think a second, if they actually fire sale, which I don't think the Raiders are going to at the deadline, that might be what you're looking for. Because Adams would be viewed as a rental because he's not going to be back on the same contract. It's extension or cut time for him. Now, if you want to be on our NFL Daily Mailbags, we've got you covered. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@chatsportstv. Sub so you don't miss out on any of our live shows. Chelsea Carpenter, any chance a blockbuster trade happens soon? If it were, I think it'd be the Brandon Aiyuk trade, right? Now, the Niners say they don't want to trade him. They always say that because if you say you do want to trade him, the offers aren't necessarily as strong. It's opposed to them becoming in a position of strength in all the negotiation stuff. So if one happens, I think it is a Aiyuk trade. I have my doubts to an extent that one still goes down. The Sports Channel, 51 days till NFL kickoff. I will be there no matter what. Very much looking forward to football being back. Gaming Wizards. Will the NFC South have 2 playoff teams? No. I think they get 1. I think got 2 potential NFC East teams, Cowboys and Eagles, as like your main contenders, not to upset any other fan bases. Lions, Packers, one of Vikings or Bears could maybe be a threat there. Niners, I'm not out on the Seahawks, by the way, or the Rams. I think if you get 2 teams above 500 for the South, which you had last year, I think the Panthers will be better. I think only 1 team gets in. Jordan D. Could Aiyuk go to the Falcons? No, I don't think so. They have Kyle Pitts. They have Drake London. They have Bijan Robinson. They paid Darnell Mooney. They don't need another wide receiver. They're not going to spend the assets to make that work. From Mason, will it seem like the Patriots or Giants do a fire sale? At the deadline, I assume you mean? Maybe. But both those teams either have or are setting up for a young QB soon. So I would be cautious to say it's going to be a full-on fire sale. Like the Giants also bought on Brian Burns. They fire sale that GM/head coach might get fired. New England might make more sense if they want to move on from some veteran pieces. But there will be some movement at the deadline. I think getting bumped back a little bit this year helps. I don't know about full-on fire sale, though. Who will be the worst team in the NFL in 2024? You can be a hater for me in the comments. Emrod777. Any rumors on Yannick Ngakoue's landing spots? Maybe just back to the Bears? I think they could use one more guy on the outside. Maybe there's some medical stuff there. I'm a little surprised he's unsigned, but someone will sign him in late July, early August. I think he can still help as a third or fourth pass rusher. From Colso Sporty, where will Hunter Renfrow sign this year? Would have thought the Saints. They seem to have moved in a different direction. Maybe Renfrow falls in the I'll wait and see what happens injury-wise in camp. But I don't have a great feel for where he ends up going. Might have to be a little bit of a wait and see on that front. Now, if we did not get to your question, blame producer Chris. My DMs are open. Please fill them up with stuff other than the bots that I get all the time on Twitter @WhatGoingDowning.